and I live in Canberra, Australia. I live on Ngunnawal land and I pay my respects to elders past, present and future. I have spent my working life designing, building, modelling and operating complex adaptive systems. Over the last 20 years, I have worked on understanding and experimenting with these systems where they are economic and social systems with unpredictable human behaviour in the small, but with stability in the large. Elinor Rostrum's regulated commons are examples of human complex adaptive systems, and I will use that term in this talk. These economic systems have many emergent properties. They provide a narrative to counter the neoliberal narrative. They rid the real economy of financial parasites. They provide ways to consider non-monetary forms of value in economic systems, and they provide ways for humans to manage external and internal threats to their survival. In this talk, I will take you through the idea of making everyone a custodian of the part of the planet Earth where they find themselves. The technique is to build wealth through everyday consumption. There is no one way to do this, but I believe the most likely avenue will adapt existing systems to become regulated commons. When we think of investing, we think of financial products. A financial product is an artifact we create that allows us to invest money to get back more money. There are many types of financial products, and the wizards of Wall Street keep inventing them. They are complicated, not complex, and they cost a lot of money to operate. There are hundreds of times more transactions in the stock market to maintain financial products than stock market transactions that invest in building new businesses for new goods and services. The biggest industries in the world are the FIRE industries of finance, insurance and real estate. By improving the efficiency of these systems, we will reduce their cost and the savings will increase the available investment funds, increase returns on investments and lower prices. A regulated commons has an asset controlled and owned by a local community. Members of the community have custodianship over part of the asset. Custodianship gives the same obligations and benefits as ownership, except that agreement to sell the asset is a community decision, not an individual one. All members contribute to the commons either by investing, consuming, operating, maintaining, or monitoring the total asset. All share the profits in previously agreed ways. Importantly, there are agreed constraints that the members follow. These constraints are measured in non-financial terms, including, for example, the division of profits between members, whether the activities contribute to greenhouse gas emissions, or the impact on biodiversity. Importantly, measures made in regulated commons are grounded in reality and are not measures of abstractions. This makes them more reliable. Financial products give a return of capital, which is an abstraction of money, which is itself an abstraction. Regulated commons give a return when goods and services are sold, and the measures of the sales are more certain and accurate than measures of capital. Financial products can be thought of as money machines. Money goes in and more money comes out, while goods and services are produced. Over time, there needs to be a relationship between the amount of money in the system and the goods and services in existence. Goods and services have a limited life, while money does not. To make the financial system stable, we need to work out ways to balance the goods and services and the money needed in the system. We invent all sorts of ways to make this happen. We make a loan, and when the money is repaid, the money goes away. The Reserve Bank has a targeted inflation and reduces the value of money. Loans are forgiven, foreclosures made, depreciation of assets calculated. With a regulated commons, the money machine does not increase the amount of money, and so there is no need to remove it when the goods and services no longer exist. It means regulated commons cost less to operate, as there is a lot less work to do. Importantly, regulated commons use a reliable measure of capital. Financial investing uses the idea of capital as the value of an asset that produces income. Valuing assets is very difficult as the asset values change and the price of money changes. In regulated commons, capital is the right to purchase goods and services for a given price. The members of the commons agree to keep it stable or to adapt in defined ways in response to unforeseen events. We know that progress in science requires reliable measurement. It is hard to overemphasize the importance of a reliable measure for economics. With accurate measurement, the science of economics will progress and economic modelling becomes more reliable. The current measures of capital and the money are unreliable and change. With regulated commons, the measures of production of goods and services are known and stable. The values change, but the physical goods are defined. When we change the underlying way entities interact with each other, emergent properties arise. With regulated commons, buyers take on the risk of future price changes. With financial systems, investors take on the risk. With financial products, buyers want lower prices while sellers want higher prices. With regulated commons, both buyers and sellers want to reduce operating costs. Having all working together for a common objective reduces costs and the risk of failure. With regulated commons, we make it easy to include non-financial constraints. To keep the planet livable, we need systems that prioritise survival. Let us take the example of having a secure place to live. With regulated commons, members require no deposit to occupy a house. They acquire capital when they pay rent. They pay a fixed proportion of their income in rent. It means rent goes up and down with income. The investors' returns are automatically adjusted for inflation. Because of the savings, everyone in the community can have the security of tenancy of occupation. All households can have solar panels without each household having to outlay capital. The community saves money with group buying and maintenance, load management agreements, and community batteries. We have a prototype a regulated commons, and investors receive twice the returns of Australian superannuation, and consumers have a 30% reduction in electricity charges. We can create a new economy from the ground up by implementing new regulated commons in any area requiring investment. The investment could be renewable energy, recycling, housing, health, transport, education, water, etc. Alternatively, we can take existing trusted networks and transform them into regulated commons. When we do this, investors will get higher returns and consumers will get lower prices, and the cost of conversion is low. We're looking for people, networks, who would like to give their customers lower prices and a share in the wealth generated, and so make the customers much more loyal. And we're also looking for communities with ideas for which they need finance. These two groups can work really closely together. We're available to help advise and to assist if people need some assistance. But the ideas are pretty straightforward and relatively easy to implement. But if you're interested in that, please contact me, Kevin Cox, at prepowercoop@gmail.com, or go to prepower.org, which is our prototype regulated commons. Thank you very much.